Okay, you have an understanding of female nature and male nature. You understand that women are hypergamous as part of their nature. You understand that women are born with their value. And you understand that men want to spread their seed and have as many children with as many women as possible. That's part of their nature. But you're also aware that men have to build themselves up to a certain status of financial and influential success to attract the women they attract women in general to spread that seed around. And somewhere in there, you have people on their spiritual journey, or they might digress as they get older from chasing women, and some women who are not chasing the bag from men, and more on a spiritual journey. And because you have an understanding of all that, you have an understanding that nowadays there's a lot of bashing of women and men for embracing their nature, and telling some women are telling some people are telling women they need to what about the average man, um, which is goes against hypergamy. So you can't, goes against their nature. Then you have some of the women telling men, well, you know, you ain't loyal, because the top 20% of men is who they're referring to, who don't have to be loyal, because 90 to 100% of women are chasing or wants the top 20% of men, and 80% of the rest of the world, men, are invisible to them. Um, Except for the simps. Even though simps make up, maybe I would say about 80, maybe 80% of men, including some of the men in the top 20% of financial and influential um, status. Those type of men exist, and women use them for resources and for attention to stroke their ego. And again, part of hypergamy, they'll only use them for those things. And then there are a small percentage of men that's not in the top 20%, but they're not, in the lower echelons of brokenness and influence, where I think I am, in that I have both time and money, where I can do a lot of things that I want to do, but I'm not simping with these women. And I have more of a MGTOW mindset, but I'm not against relationships. And and that's where I think most men should get to, be having a MGTOW mindset, where you've seen all the bashing, you see all the videos of what men are doing and what women are doing, what women think about men in general, based on the top 20% of men, because they want the top 20% of men who could spread their seed with any woman they want, that want them, where they have access to a lot more women, but want those men to be loyal, and that's against men's nature. And then you have men upset with these women for chasing the top 20% of men. Somewhere sprinkled in there are a few women who would settle, or not. I shouldn't say settle, but they would love to be with a guy like myself, who's not a simp. Most average men, or slightly above average men, who are not simps, do get married and have family, and they have a beautiful relationship till death do us part. And then there are those that kind of like go that route and then eventually branch off to a more spiritual journey. I'm kind of on the fence between, being married, because I did get a fiance, and going on a spiritual journey, and I'm trying to do both. Um, I think I'll focus on both spiritual journey and the family thing. So you've gotten to that point. You've seen it all. You've seen the bashing. You've seen what's going on, but no solution. Here is a solution. All right. First, you grab your passport, expand your horizon beyond the United States or the West. Because if you expand your marketplace, your sexual marketplace, to include the rest of the world, you basically expand your accessibility to more women who may not have the same value, who will not have the same values the way you live here in the United States. I'm talking about the United States in general, because that's where I live. So what you would do is get your passport, travel around, see. There are lots of places, hotspots: Thailand, Philippines, Brazil, Colombia, um, Dominican Republic, some of the other places, parts of Africa, for hundreds, maybe I would say 100 years. For the past 100 years or so, mail order brides were a thing. It was you order a bride, they come to check it out, see if it's something they want to do back, and then if they do, you get married, you settle down, and you go on. Now it's evolved to the internet. Um, a lot of Chinese men go to like parts of Africa and have a bunch of kids. If that's what you want to do, you could go around and spread your seed with as many women as you want. In some of these other countries, the same thing that the top 20% of men can do with the women here, who incidentally these women will shame you for going overseas and messing with the women there for doing the same thing what that these women overseas are doing with you that they're trying to do to the top 20% of men. They'll be upset with those women and they'll be upset with you, but ignore that stuff because they're doing the same thing with the top 20% of men here, who are fortunate, things align and they were able to make it the top 20% to attract these women here. So you get your passports, you go overseas, and opened up your sexual marketplace to include the rest of the world. And you would find that how quickly it is to get everything that you're looking for in a wife. And and when you find that, you'll come to another realization that you don't really want to be chasing a whole lot of women, because even though if you have access to a whole lot of women and you can afford to go to these countries and meet these women and things like that, um, you usually very quickly, the one that kind of like that you find up front that's fit, feminine, friendly, youthful. Um, they're raised to be wives. They're already wives, and they just you stop really wanting to do a whole lot of exploring to find a wife or to test the waters here, there, and everywhere, because you have the women in America to compare these women with, and you're getting significantly more than you bargained for without having to go to spend years looking. One trip, maybe two trips, sometimes three trips, you find what you're looking for. I found what I was looking for on my second trip. And the first trip wasn't bad. That woman just happened to have some American traits that I didn't really like. She smoked, for instance. I didn't want to marry anybody who smoked. Um, on my second trip, found everything I was looking for. And since I am on a journey where I'm not interested in this spreading my seed, because to me that comes with a whole ton of misery that will take away my peace that I'm not really interested in. I'm not the type of person to go having a bunch of kids and not give a damn. um, so this is not my personality. Some men can do that, yes, and they're fine with it, and some. I have a friend. He's not rich. I'm actually have more money than him, but he have like 9 kids. you know, and he doesn't really give a damn. I think he knows of all of them, obviously, but he only sees maybe one or two um, on a regular basis. So um, I don't want to be like him. He's a good friend of mine. I just don't want to be like that. So I find that I have this one wife. Now, the bashing will come in that she's trying to use me for a green card and a citizenship in this country. That might be all well and good. It's hypergamy. She wants something. She's getting something out of being in a relationship with me, just like the women in this country is trying to get something out of the men in the top 20%, including loyalty, which is against their nature, and resources and everything else. So everybody wants something. It's part of nature. You got to expect that. But I'm not going to shame or bash the women for going after what they're doing. I'm not going to shame and bash the women that I'm going after for trying to get something from me. And if that's what she wants, because I've expanded my um, sexual market to the rest of the world, and I know that I could find other women if she leaves me, just as easily as I found her, it's not a big deal to me anymore. I'm not going to be losing out. And because I live in the state of Maryland, my properties are not subject to marital assets because I purchased them in full long before I marry anyone. Most of my financial value, is tied up in my properties. So most of my stuff is protected under Maryland state law. It's when it's the money, like my investments and stuff, which is what I'll have a prenup for, like an insurance policy similar to auto insurance. I'm not going out there thinking, yes, I will get in an accident, or somebody's out there to hit my car. I'm not doing it like that. Like some people look at a prenup like, you're planning for a divorce, but not realizing that the woman you marry is not the woman you're divorcing. They're coming for everything you have as possible. So that's what that is for. It's an insurance policy. So now I can invest all my time and energy into that I have to, what I want to invest into that relationship, and see where it goes. And it could go for my lifetime, or it could end right after she gets her citizenship or her green card. It could end anywhere along the lines, right? But I'm not pessimistic about this. And because I have the MGTOW mindset, she can go. And because my sexual marketplace is the whole world now, I know in one, maybe two more trips overseas, I could get me another wife that will do just the same, have fit, feminine, friendly, and youthful to build a relationship with, either there in their country or here. Most of these women in foreign countries really don't want to come to the United States except out of novelty to see what it's like and stuff like that. But some of them, I think most will stay if they come. Some will want to go back because I have friends where they actually left the country with their wives because they were just miserable here, and they just went back to their country with their wives, to the wives' countries, and they stayed there, and they're happy and they're fine with it. And or I could just simply go there, meet somebody, marry there, and settle down there. And on the topic of marriage, I will go straight into this. I'll keep it simple. Ephesians, right? Ephesians 5, chapter 5, verse 25, it says, husbands, love your wife. And then you have Ephesians 5:33 says, wives, respect your husband. All right, so if you've gone by, you've gotten through all the bashing and all this name calling, and you found a solution. Well, the solution I suggest is get your passport, expand your sexual marketplace to find a wife that you're looking for, and you'll find it much easier. You found your wife, like in my case, I found my wife, done all the traditional stuff, done the tribal marriage, I would say, and just preparing for her to come here so I can do the legal marriage. And this Ephesians, I think Peter mentioned it in somewhere in the New Testament again, but husbands, love your wife, wives, respect your husband. What you're seeing nowadays is that women want men to love them, to respect them, and a lot of men, and mainly simps, are looking for wives to love them, right? But it's not meant to be that way, at least from biblical standings. And there's some form or another in almost all religious texts and ancient texts when it comes to marriage, getting doctrines of marriage. It all boils down to husbands, love your wife, and wives, respect your husband. All right? So women are given the command to love because women's version of love is highly emotional and therefore unstable. Men's version of love is a command. We have the ability to love without the emotional attachment. That's why it's easier for us to sleep with so many women and not be attached to any of them, not to love any of them. But we can love you, the one woman we're with. I'm not saying that, just because we have that ability that all of us do that. Again, I'm on more on a balanced spiritual type slash relationship journey. So I'm not really interested in the stress that comes with sleeping around a whole bunch of women. This wasn't my thing. That's just me. Um, but Ephesians sum that up very, very clearly and concisely. Men can love on command, women cannot. And if men would stop looking for love, for a woman to love them, a lot of the heartache they're going through now will go away. If a woman is looking for a man to respect them for going to college, getting the job, career, and all the stuff that they got, because men don't give a shit about that stuff, because we don't respect those type of things from women, because we are providers and protectors. Women need to understand men is not gonna respect that, but they could love the woman if she's fit, feminine, friendly, and youthful. All that other stuff is crazy. And it comes down to just these things here. If you want to do a marriage vow when you do your wedding, I will talk to the minister when it's time for me to get married, to basically keep my vows very short and sweet. Do you promise to love your wife? Yes, I do. Do you promise to respect your husband? Yes, I do. That's all I want at my wedding. Um, if I'm following the biblical stuff from Judeo Christianity, and as far as the way I want to live my life with my wife, uh, I'm going to approach it like the way Islam teaches how a husband and wife should be. Um, for because they go into more details. And as far as Hinduism, they have some concepts of how men and women should live, and there are two concepts. They have the the kings and the people of power and influence. They have their method. I'm not really interested in that, because that's not me. I do have some power, but not at a level of that will qualify me for that aspect. Um, I am more on the spiritual path, so I will infuse some of the spiritual customs and requirements that's required by men from a Hindu perspective into my marriage, and hopefully everything works out. But we'll see. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. Y'all have a good day.